Yo, guys, welcome back to the first episode of 2023. I am one supposed third of your host, Ben Coleman here. We do have to my right, or your left, Kia McCarter, and we should have Josh Archer, but unfortunately, he's running a bit late as he is fitting the security to my house. So bear with us there. But more importantly, actually, no, I'm not giving you that much props. No, not more importantly. Unfortunately, we have a system in place where anyone can book on whenever they want, and Mol has just stole the space. Two spaces, but yeah, we got to welcome back Just Mol. How'd you feel? How'd you feel back?
Guess who's back?
Back again.
How you all doing?
Oh God.
So, right, we're just going to quickly adjust Mol's volumes. All right, so first off, we're going to give a massive shout out to our sponsors of the JBK podcast and fresh for the new year. We do have Lakeside Fire and Security, who are currently fitting the security system at my house. Shout out to you guys. We've got Northwest Plumbing and Eating. We do have Transform Physiques Gym, and we also have TNT Records. And last but not least, massive shout out to the Knights for letting us use their facility. Make sure you go and check all those guys out. They are on our page if you're struggling to find their Facebook page. But, Mol, I will fire the first question at you. And it's not about Dad. Oh my God. Look at him. We knew straight away. But yeah, first and foremost, Mol, how have you been recently in the past few months? We won't go to what's the plan for 2023. We'll wait and we'll leave the people hanging for that so they stay on for the people that are interested. So, I will say, how was your past, I'd say, since you last came on the podcast, being what's new, what's different, what's the same, how's it going?
I mean, first of all, thanks ever so much for allowing me to come back. That's because
All jokes aside, you are welcome whenever.
Well, to be fair, we didn't really have a choice.
I mean, the last time I was on the podcast, a lot of things changed from where I was at. I kind of hit a little bit of a snag, kind of, you know, just wasn't feeling, you know, as great. I had work and it was just sort of getting to me.
Yeah.
And I was just sort of like, I wasn't being able to make as much content as I wanted to. But then when I finally had, I would say it was around October time, and there was finally a switch, and I just went, I'm finally saying, pardon my French, but fuck everything else.
Yeah.
It's time you got your finger out your ass and you stopped half-assing shit.
Yeah.
You have got, and I say this about everybody that I always meet. I even say this about you lads. You have all got, everybody has a modicum amount of talent. Doesn't matter how big or small, everybody's got individual talent. But your potential outweighs your talent. And it's time that you use the talent that you do have and start to live out your potential.
Yeah.
Using the talent that you do possess. Talent, you can gain more of it by working your ass off and becoming better, becoming greater in whatever aspect and whatever area it is that you wish to be in.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep working, keep going, and then working on the first song. That
Performing live for us, yeah. I was thinking about this yesterday. I thought Josh said it as like a joke, didn't he, the other week? And I thought, no, I'm going to spring it on him on this podcast, and I'll watch him.
He's just like, no, you're not, it isn't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, mate, just imagine if you did get big, you're going to have to perform it in front of people anyway. So,
of course, yes.
But so since
Probably going 5p, 10p.
Yeah, big fish, little fish. But at the end of the day, mate, it takes balls to bring something out like that. So one, massive congratulations. Two, where can the people find it if they want to listen?
There is an audio version that is up on my YouTube channel. Type in Just Ball on YouTube and you'll find it. The song title is Coming for It All, and you can also find it on Spotify, ladies and gents.
Same as the JBK podcast. Make sure you go over to Spotify and type in the JBK podcast, and you will find every single episode we do as an audio or a video version now, because we do upload the live video to the actual channel. So if you want to go and watch that, make sure you go and check out Mal's new song, Coming for It All. I've heard it and I was surprised. I'm not going to lie. I was very, very surprised.
I had a lot of people message me and etc. When I put out the snippets, I had a lot of people going, okay, damn, did not expect it to be this good. I didn't expect it to sound.
Wait there. Auto tune is a hell of a thing. No, I mean, come on, let's not get.
There's not that much auto tune on the song.
I know, I'm winding you up.
There is a slight effect, but that's pretty much all that there is with the song. And you know, I have had my uncle, and you know what Liam's like. He tries to get me riled up and build a fire within me. That's what Liam's like.
Funnily enough, he's watching right now.
Just quickly, is this
He is.
this mic for Josh number 4?
This one is, yeah.
Right, go on.
And you know, he's just like, you know, it's not.
Yeah, it's not. Try it now. Go on, speak into the mic.
And so,
Yeah, speak.
Hello?
Right, yeah.
yeah.
He just wanted to silence Mal.
Yeah.
That's what he did. You can't silence the freight train.
Missed you too, mate.
But yeah, sorry, mate. You were saying.
Yeah, and he was just sort of saying it's not good, it's not great, and I'm like, Liam, I know what you're doing. I know exactly what you're doing. There's already fire lit within me. You don't need to do it again.
The thing is, though, naturally, though, people, all jokes aside, and there is joking that will come with whatever you do, it doesn't matter what it is. Ultimately, the only person that needs to be bothered is you. If you're happy doing it, well, do it. If you're not, don't do it. It's as simple as that. And if people don't like it, well, then that's their problem. And at the end of the day, there's going to be people that will subconsciously think it's a joke all the time.
Yeah.
But then when you're constantly putting somebody down and down and down, it gets to the point where that person gets sick of the joke and just stops listening to you altogether.
Yeah.
And then that's when you start distancing yourself from people, and it's not mate banter anymore or family banter. It becomes where it's like, excuse the language, what's your fucking problem here? What have you got a problem with me doing?
Yeah.
And that's the same as what I did. I found this out a few years ago. So for me, I do whatever now. People take the piss. I'm not interested. They can say what they want. I'm not interested. Don't care. If it's good or bad, great. But as you say, bad publicity is good publicity. So
It's like that though as well. A lot of people that take the piss are taking the piss because they don't have the bottle to do it themselves.
yeah, but then you look at what they're doing and they're doing nothing.
Yeah.
They don't do anything they want to do. They go to work and go home and go to bed.
I say that about a lot of people, and the whole issue is like you can chat shit all you want. You can say
Get
whatever you
banged.
want. But you you can say whatever you want, but until you even dare to do what I do, and
I'd do it.
I mean, go and do it.
Whether
Good.
it's not a passion of mine though. But
Exactly.
if it was a case of where I could just hop on something and yeah, but
Or whatever it is that
I'd do it.
you
What, next to
wish,
Steve Smalley?
yeah, why not? Fuck it.
whatever you wish to do, whatever it is, and you're holding yourself back because you're too afraid to do it.
But all those
And then
people,
you see somebody that's doing what they're wanting to do and they're living out their dreams and they're making things become a reality. You're getting salty because you're not in their position. And that's when I go, well, why don't you get your finger out your ass like this person's done already and he's doing something about it?
it's because a lot of people tend to lack the courage that it takes to do things like that. So the first person and easiest person to blame is everybody else but yourself. So when it comes to something like that, you'll tend to find people who'll use every excuse under the sun rather than looking at themselves and going, what can I improve on? And for a lot of people, that is a hard pill to swallow, knowing that you aren't all you think you are. So and that sometimes happens when you've done the thing as well. So sometimes your greatest downfall is after you've took the risk in the first place, but then it's about risking again and again and again and again and again and until it happens. But what I will say is, one, I think you deserve a massive amount of credit, whether people like it or don't. I think the one for you actually doing it and putting it out there takes a lot of bottle to start with. Two, I think because you've actually realised you wanted to do it, go ahead and actually doing it is another thing. But three, what I would always say to you is, regardless of what anybody says, don't stop doing it for that. But I always will say, make sure that it's manageable to you, as in, so you're not committing to stuff where it's stopping other important stuff.
Yeah.
You don't want to burn out as well.
So, like you said recently, but just quickly off air, you'd stop the weight loss journey because you were juggling too many plates. Now, for me, that was the biggest plate to not stop juggling for you.
Yeah.
But it's once again, it's a learning period. It's very difficult to do multiple things at once and stay on the course. Very difficult. So, how do you find coming into the new year? What's the goals? What's the goals for 2023?
The goals for 2023, there's a lot for 2023, but the main goal, well, I think there's three. The first main goal is to get myself into the shape that I want to get myself into. That's one of the main goals is to lose this all this other weight that I'm wanting to lose and get myself to the best physical shape, because I feel like mentally I'm almost there. I'm pretty much there mentally, but now I just need to get that physical form sorted, and that's all down to me. And that's why when I took a break, I went, I'm a little bit burnt out, I'm a little bit tired. I'll take a little bit of a rest, have a reset, and then I will continue pretty much from where I left off. But there's going to be a new fire within me.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, take your break. You can have what you want with food. You don't go too crazy, etc. Christmas time, you don't go too crazy with the Christmas dinner and the pudding, etc. Just don't go too crazy. And that's what I didn't do.
Yeah. As long as you trust yourself enough to feel comfortable doing that, then that's fine. But for me, so it got to a point with me where when I was on a diet or a life change or whatever you want to bloody call it, I had to cut everything cold turkey. I couldn't mix, say, my cheat meal or once a week or whatever it was. It was only one meal. It wasn't it would still be it wouldn't be bad food for the sake of bad food. So it wouldn't just be chocolate for the sake. It'd be, say, in the morning I'd have bagels with Philadelphia on, bit of bread, a bit of cheese. Not great, but it's not really the worst thing ever. And then I'd have scrambled eggs for dinner with a bit of toast, bread again. Not the great, and it's probably you can probably go without bread, but just like it was a cheat day, but not for the sake of just chocolate. Do you know what I mean? Like and pizza and all that stuff. And then I'd have maybe a big bowl of creamy pasta or something, which isn't great either, but it's like it's not the worst. It's not like full Domino's pizza with a bloody dough balls and then cookies.
No,
and
that's
then,
when you just being
Can
a
you
bit
stop
silly.
right there, please? Because I'm starting to like get mouth water.
yeah, I know. I was starting to get a loud chub. Not gonna lie, I was starting to get a loud chubs there. But yeah, so what are the other goals, Mo? Obviously, you've said that you want to get back into your fit. Well, for you, your best physical shape you can. What are the other two?
Um, I would say start branching out more with the music and start collabing more on YouTube, whoever it may be. It's to try and start branching out and trying to collaborate, build the audience, build the fan base, and see, you know, where it can really take me. Because Henry said this to me. He said, "You have got talent, you've got potential, but mate, your charisma is so good. So you've got incredible amount of charisma." And so that's why he was just sort of like, with the charisma that you've got, you could be so massive in whatever it is that you want to do, because you're very likable. You don't
Wait
take,
there, wait there, wait
you
there.
don't take yourself too seriously.
Let's hold up. Likeable.
I think he's.
I'm a lovable idiot. All right, I'm a lovable idiot.
I think Henry was just trying to get away with messing your hair up. Where he was trying to butter you up so he didn't mess your hair
It's
up.
all like, yeah.
Try to butter him up so he can thumb it in.
Yeah, he's trying to thumb it in. No, but mate, yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't. Let's call a spade a spade. All jokes aside, once again, you're not a bad guy. You never have been. You're not. You know what I mean? You're not untalented. You're not the best talented, but you've got the passion there that will fuel the talent. So you can't. I can't really disagree with anything you're saying. To be quite honest, I really can't. If there was a part of me that could, I would say. But I really don't disagree with any of what you're saying. I really don't at all. And then we do have a comment from Liam. I don't comment on his stuff to be a prick, by the way. I comment on his stuff because I don't lie to him like a lot of people do. I'd rather be honest with him so he can improve being quick. Oh, I agree. But then there's a way to comment in there rather than just saying you shit. Do you know what I mean? there's a
Yeah,
way.
but that's just Liam.
I know, but there's a way to comment. So say,
You're
say
not
for
doing-
instance, if you thought your music was garbage, you'd go, yeah, it's shit, rather than going, I think you could work that. So I agree with him because criticism can be your biggest motivation, but you can also learn from it. But there is also a way to critique someone properly, like just saying you're shit with no explanation as to why you think you're shit is probably the worst thing you can get, because then that literally just wants to crush you. Well, not everyone has known Jordan for 26 years of their life. No, God, no. And you're right there again, Liam. Not everybody has known him, but you don't need to know him for 26 years to understand basic criticism, as I know you do. And I know for you and him, it's a different relationship. But for me personally, if someone was just purposefully just going, well, you shit, everything you're doing shit. I know he knows you, but for me, I would take that as though, what's your problem? Like, if you don't like my stuff, don't listen to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I get it. I do get it. But like I say, maybe it's just like a family thing, and you'll know where he's coming from, etc., etc. But just off taking it off face value, obviously someone that doesn't
From
know
like an outside view.
from an outside view, it just looks personal.
Yeah.
Like it's never. I know it isn't, but from an outside person looking in, it just looks like a personal thing where it's like, well, you shit, and that's it. But what else is there? What's your other one?
And one of the last goals for this year is to get my own place.
No, I did not expect that.
That's
That's a good one, mate. I like that.
that's the last goal of this year. I mean, I think adding on top of it, and I think it kind of fits in along with it. Start becoming a bit better with money and handling
Yeah.
money, but the main goal is to start getting okay with money and handling money
Yeah.
and saving money, and then focusing on getting my own spot.
The key to that is, do you understand money? No.
No,
But that's a thing, and I'm not once have I said everything he does is shit. All I've done is say, yeah, telling the truth. Simple as that. Yeah, fair enough. Like I'm not. So the key to, and I'm victim here, so I can say both sides because I've been great with money and I've been shit with money. The key to it is understanding money. It's very simple, and a lot of people fall off right there. And I'm prime example. I was really bad, probably worse than most people that ever comment on our videos, to be quite honest. So for me, the second I started understanding money in general for the basic stuff, it's simple. For me, I just needed a breakdown in my face. Like I needed to see a breakdown of what I have to pay every month, and then I broke it down into small bites. So now I do the same thing now. I don't mind saying every single week I put £500 a week away. That doesn't matter if that's my full wage or half my wage or it's a fucking tenth of my wage. £500 goes away every week out my wage. So at the end of the month, there could be £2,000, £2,500. That covers the bills by a mile. But then that allows us like £700-800 spare, usually. At the moment, obviously not, with Christmas just gone and then all that stuff. But it's the same thing for everybody else. You just need to break it down into manageable chunks where you can understand how much you need to put away, so then that way you're never short. So, and that worked for me. It might not work for other people. Maybe they like seeing the big sum and then can work it out that way. But the second you understand that there's a transaction involved, as in with money, to bills, to consumers, to yourself, to the place that you work, to them, etc., you really look at it completely different. Like,
But I guess that's a bonus that you've got for getting paid weekly though as well.
but even when I was monthly, you'd still manage it weekly. You'd still go, right, well, how much do I
Yeah,
get?
yeah. No, what I'm saying is obviously each week you see your income. Like every payday is your like what, Thursday, Friday maybe, I don't know.
Friday, yeah.
Right. So it's like, oh, so I've got like X amount of pounds. I'll put this away. I can live off that.
Yeah.
For this week, and then
But I did it when I was monthly paid as well.
I do it.
So I used to get paid £2,000 every month, right? When I was monthly paid at an old job. First thing I'd do is put 1,400 quid away, straight away. And then I'd split that rest into weekly sums. So I'd have £150 a week spare, and I wouldn't touch the rest. I wouldn't dip into it. I wouldn't do anything. And that was at that time because I was in debt. Whereas now I'm not. I still do the same. So if and when I move to a job and I'm on monthly pay, the same thing will be happening. I'll be putting £2,000 a month away, and then the rest, or if there is any rest, which hopefully there should be, if there's any more, that'll be brought down into weekly pay as well.
Yeah.
Because you live week to week. You don't live month to month. The way they have it structured now is to keep you poor.
I used to live month to month. It didn't work. I
Yeah.
now like you week to week, so I get paid because I get paid the last working day of the month. All my bills go out on the first.
See
next
now,
month.
now even that's if you because obviously I know the position you're in at the moment with a new flat and it's all coming out, but I wouldn't even do that. All it takes is for them to mess your pay up and you've got no money there.
Well, I'm lucky because I get my pay at like 5 days before I get paid. So if
Yeah.
there's a mess up, I can always go back.
Right.
and
Well,
sort
that's
it out.
good then because I did the same. So when I was monthly pay, I set my bills to like 10 days later.
Yeah.
Then I'd save for 10 days. I wouldn't touch my bills. So then I'm technically already 10 days saved. So then the rest of the month I felt like a millionaire.
Yeah.
And that worked for a long period of time. And then I went to Travis Sandifer. I followed your advice and put £700 away each month. Sweet. Oh, mate, that's fucking great news. That is actually cracking news, isn't it? Seeing, mate, that's warmed me up. That's fucking great news. That it really is because it's hard. And as you know, like I say, we've all been a part of it more. But that's a really good one that because I think it'll go hand in hand, like you said. I think you are right in what you're saying. It does go hand in hand, but you need to get to a position first where you've got that money sat there to be able to buy a house or to be able to don't rent.
Yeah.
Wait another year, wait another 2 years if you have to. Do not rent a house.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion because you're just paying somebody else. So eventually you'll be paying me because I will own houses when I'm older. So you'll be paying me. Think about it. What's that doing? Help me pay my assets. You own nothing of that house. You're living in my house and you're paying to somebody else.
The line is you're basically giving him pocket money.
Whereas now I'm paying the bank interest, but I've got equity in the house. So if we sold that house now, I think we've got 12 grand equity in the house. So when we sell the house, if we sell it for more than we bought it, great, we get even more equity. If we sold my house for 90 grand, we've got 17 grand equity in the house. Then that 17 grand goes on the next house or whatever, and so on and so on. But if you're renting for a year and you pay 4 grand in a year to somebody's pocket, where's that gone? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you ever need any help, don't hesitate to ask. I've been in the most amount of debt possible. So, and even Liam saying the biggest advice I could give John is to get a full-time job first where you stable. I agree. I fucking 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
100%. That's actually cracking advice as well, isn't it?
I can see it. My mother's watching. Hello, mother.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a shout out? Do you want to give a shout out? Go on.
Oh, I can't even remember the date it's opening, but it's opening next week, I believe. Mum shop's opening next week on Rawlinson Street.
Do you know what it's called?
Heaven Sent.
Heaven Sense, and she sent me to heaven a few times. Ooh, Cheryl.
I'm going on a quit.
She called me Big Benji.
No.
Oh, yeah, Travis, stability is key, 100%. If you get stability in other areas, then you can eventually risk some areas as well. But yeah, Cheryl, I loved that, by the way, that night. No, I love the fact that you've got I love the fact.
I just loved how we just snuck that in.
No, I just love the fact that she's like, oh, taking a risk. I love to see that. As soon as I said that, she was like, I'm quitting my job to start this. I love that. Like, that's literally that. Seeing people do that, like, gives me more passion to know that I'm definitely going to do it. Like, I love that. I can't wait to go and blow my wage in there. I mean, I won't say much more, Cheryl. Let's keep that night.
Down, boy,
Enough.
down.
But yeah, Travis, you're right. Stability is key, mate. But yeah, and so is Liam. That's a cracking advice. That full-time job first, which I know they're hard to come by sometimes, especially in the field that you're in, because customer service, you never really get offered full-time, do you?
No.
And even if you do, I hate how shit the pay is.
Oh, it's crap.
You don't even need to say that because I know.
But yeah, so
It's not even that though. I gave you the advice a fair few months, but I haven't read that yet. I'll go and finish what I'm saying first. I gave you advice a few months back. I like maybe got to college or something to do a college course to like help you in that field. Do you know what I mean? To try and better yourself.
Cheryl, dirty Shazza.
That's our little secret, Big Penny.
Do you know what the worst part is? It's literally like kid stuff that in it. Like, oh my god, that like as a joke, it was your kids. You're like, I'd born your mum. You'll be calling me dad next week and all this stuff. And you sit there and you just think it's hilarious.
All of a sudden, Kia wakes up and then, oh, it's
Oh,
reality.
Kia, you're all red. We were all red and sweaty that night, Shazza, weren't we? Oh, let's go.
Who even are you? Not my mother anymore.
You ain't getting any fucking pocket money off me, mate.
What the-
Look at but dad. No, but yeah, honestly, first off, I've got to say an actual thank you to coming back on, Mo, 'cause I know, like I say, you've been very busy with all your other stuff. Tony, this is a family show. Exactly. Share the family.
Are you sure about that?
Share the family. But yeah, no, thank you for coming back on. Like I say, I know you've been busy and I know sometimes you get a bit anxious about coming back on occasionally, but massive shout out to you for coming back on. And if you're curious, make sure you go over to Spotify if you missed earlier and check out his song "Coming for It All." It is on YouTube as well. And if you're also interested, we do have the new hoodies. Moles is getting made. Don't worry, I've sorted it. So if you are interested and you want to get a hoodie, make sure you message either me, Kia, or Josh, and we will grab you one at cost. We're not making any profit off them. We're selling them as we buy them.
That's
So
what they say.
I know what I'm doing with my old
what
hoodie.
do you mean? That's what we say. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
You're not coming back on.
I know.
What do you mean?
Get
No,
out.
we're gonna take that function off. No, we can't. We can't. We agreed that even months ago. We can't sell it to people for a profit. When do you know what I mean? Like we're not about that. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, Kieran, is my fucking CCTV up yet or what? My dad's watching. You know, he wants to know. No,
I'll do it, Kieran.
but yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. Massive shout out to you, Mo, for coming back on. Massive shout out to the sponsors again as well. Like I say, we've got our goals for 2023, Kia. So, what is your personal? Have you got any personal goals for the year?
Get back in shape. Slacked a bit up to the build up for Christmas and that.
Not the only
Yeah.
one.
So gonna get back to the gym, get back into shape, get back down, get to my goal weight, which is 13.5 stone, and then just go from there. Better myself in my job.
Yeah.
See if I can progress any further in that field. Who knows? Potentially move on.
Just drilled through a pipe and flooded your house. That's sweet, mate. It's quite bad, really, if he's done that and you're on Facebook watching us. Cheers, mate. You know, that's
It's
great.
just so that.
To be fair, dedicated watcher. I like it. But yeah,
But I've decided what I'm doing with my old hoodie.
what are you doing?
Gonna put it in my mum's shop.
It's got the old logo on though. Ah, that's a good shout. What we'll do is we'll get you a new hoodie, Cheryl, for the shop. I'll come and drop it off. But I'll come drop it off. But yeah, no, we'll get you a new one if you're happy putting the hoodie up on the wall or something like that. It'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, I think the goal weight. Have you got goal weights as in certain timescales, or are you that's just a goal weight? It doesn't matter how long it takes. Are you just going for
I'm
it?
not gonna try and put a time scale on it because sometimes it never works.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. So what else is in specifically for your job? I know obviously you said you get better on. Oh yeah, we'll pop it on the wall. No worries. Yeah, cheers, Cheryl. What are you? So what's the what do you call it? What's the thing to progress with your job? Like, is there any specifics, or once again, is it just to try and get better and
Just to try and get better within obviously what I do. So then I'm more like self-efficient, if
Yeah.
you will.
yeah, that's good. There's one that you even forgot. Beep beep.
I'm guessing
Oh,
he's learned
yeah.
how to drive.
Yeah, sort of driving out as well if I can.
Jesus, even I got that quicker than you did, though, man.
Kia, I've got secret sauce. Come and see me. I'll speed your fitness up.
What do you know?
No. And not only that, you spelt my name wrong.
I've just noticed.
And you know what the worst part about that is? You'd literally go through a toilet seat a week because your piss would melt it. But honestly, it's honestly no secret sauce for you, boy. I know. Let's not tell him about our sauce. But we won't tell him it was a saucy night. That's all I'm saying.
His mum knows about the sauce.
Oh, trust me, she knows.
She knows.
My mum
She knows.
would kick my head in.
Correct. She kicked mine in. Bloody hell. Both of them. No. Anyway, the work one,
You don't need a new hoodie, mum. You can have this one.
Yeah.
I resign.
the driving one is for, I think, trust me, and I can say this because I've done it.
That is my biggest one.
It changed my life already.
That's my biggest one. But
Did
obviously,
you really do that much of a change to you?
it's getting the instructor. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, still a massive backlog. Everyone's sport. Every instructor I've messaged off phone. They said, "Oh, I'm booked up till like nearly the end of this year."
Yeah, it's just try all of them, get your name.
So I have thought about doing the intense course in Blackpool.
So you need to be careful with that. So if you need to speak to anyone that's done it that I know of, message Andy Worrell. He did it and still failed it. So it's not a guarantee that you go there and pass it. So you got to weigh it up, right? First off, you got to pay for the course. Then you've got to pay for your hotel when you're there. Then you've got to pay to be you're not getting paid as much to be off work. Then you've got to actually take the time off work. Then you've got to actually see, Mike Jones, I failed the black. So there you go. So there's another person. It's not a guarantee. So you could potentially spend like 1,800 quid to pass in a week and fail. And then you've wasted $8,000. They didn't even put me in for me test. There you go. So it's a pain in the ass. There will be a cancellation. You just got to go to every single instructor and go to every single instructor and say, when's the earliest you can get me in? I can pay every week. I'll do 2 lessons a week or whatever just to organise.
You buy them all.
Fuck are you going?
Did he just say he's got a toilet to sort out his watch?
That's what. Or did you say I'm going to sort something out with my watch? I don't know. But yeah, that has been Mole on the JBK podcast. They only put people through who will 100% pass. All right, so you could do the lessons, and if they don't think you pass, they don't put you in for it anyway. Yeah, so you could fucking waste your time down there. Yeah. You could go down there, and after 4 days or whatever, you might pass your theory, and sometimes now they don't even let you down there unless you pass your theory. So you could go down there, do 10 hours of driving, still not be comfortable, and they won't put you in for your test, and you're like, well, what have I done that for?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a pain in the ass. I got quite lucky with mine the way it fell. Like I said, I messaged everybody, and then it got to the point where I was like, I just got automatic, and then I messaged Steve out the blue, and he only took me on because I passed my theory test and I drove before.
It's not only that, you laid it on quite thick as well.
Oh, well, it was true what I said though.
No, yeah.
I said, we're having a kid soon. We both don't drive. I can 100% guarantee you I'm going to pass. Just take the chance, and I can pay you up front if you want, and I'll pay you whatever you want. And he was like, all right. So he turned up and charged me the same as everybody else anyway. But because I drove before, that sort of comforted him a bit that I'd pass quick. So he used to fit me in at hours that really he probably shouldn't be working. So it'd be sometimes straight after work at like 7 or 8 o'clock. But then it'd be sometimes in the morning at like 6:30 in the morning. So it just varied. But you just got to try and find ways to do it. Like I say, that's one of those things where he said no. But because I felt, no, I'm not accepting that, I thought I'll come back and do it again. But honestly, just the how much it's opened my life being able to do it, even if it is only automatic, it's like changed everything for me. It's like changed job prospects. It's changed. I can go down and see my dad now with my son. I could take my son to the hospital, or Beth. Now Beth drives as well. It just completely changes your life. I would highly recommend doing it as quick as you can, but I know there's a struggle there. But do you have any more? Do you have any group ones for the podcast? Do you have any goals for the podcast?
Yeah. Get better equipment. Like obviously,
we've only got one thing left to get really now, haven't we?
Camera, but then obviously we could look at like better headsets maybe.
Yeah, well,
to be fair, I think the headsets are all right.
I think that they're good for what they are, but I also think if you're starting to go down that route, well, then you could upgrade everything, couldn't you?
Yes.
But I think the only thing we need now, ideally, I think there's 2 things.
Yeah, there is 2 things.
The camera.
And potentially our own spot.
Their own spot where it's every week where we can.
That should be one of the main.
It is.
Main.
The camera is the main one because I think we're constantly going between webcams, and I think the camera quality is okay, but it's not as good as it could be. Yeah. But the main one is 100. Even though it's a 1080p camera, it just when you're doing it, it's a Lewis a backing screen. That's another thing we've also looked at is like a green screen.
Yeah.
A big green screen on a wall, but then once again that falls
You know,
into.
you can always ask to borrow mine if
No,
you want to.
I know, but then what that does is that falls then into if we had our own place, we could get it on a stand,
Well,
and
yeah.
then you don't have to move it. Because when we set this up, we take it apart every episode, which takes like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then rather than us just coming in, having a brief before the podcast, right, is there anything you don't want to speak about? Is there anything you want to speak about? Is there anything you want to promote or not promote? And we're open and honest about it. Boom, we'll start. Rather than we get here, we set up, something doesn't work when we set up, then it stops the podcast starting, then the bloody chairs aren't here, and then it's like the stuff on the table, and then it's all this, and then it just becomes an issue where it's the same thing every week. Whereas if we had our own spot, like Lewis was saying, we could have a green screen, so we could have like a joke thing behind us, or we could have it where it's just our outlines or whatever.
Like you've seen it in my videos.
Yeah, you see it in loads of people's videos, don't you, where they're just sat there. But then with a screen, it could also be a screen that goes all the way around us, so it's like enclosed. So it's like it looks like a proper like a setup.
Yeah.
But I think that'll all come in time, I'm hoping. But Lewis is right, a backing screen.
That's why I go speak to the mother.
Ooh, I'll go and speak to her. I'll convince her. Ooh.
You can go back in your cage.
Yes, Daddy.
Oh, I like the cage. She poking me with a cattle prod. Like, you know, you bastard.
Were you moaning like a walrus?
No, I was purring. And then I'll sometimes go,
Fucking no.
but yeah,
Christ.
I agree. I think there's a few things, but like I say, I think the audio's fine. I just think I think if we get this on a extendable arms, we could be a bit more comfortable and we could sit and maybe relax in the chairs and have it a bit more relaxed rather than we're forward.
I was going to say the chairs.
We're forward. We're over the mic. We're talking like
That's why
this.
you see me try and sit a bit more straight on here, and I'm like,
So if we're talking like this, and I'll test it for you now. So if we talk like this, the audio is really clear. As soon as we talk like this, it's really quiet. As soon as we talk like this, it sometimes comes in and out depending on how loud you speak, and then it's just little things, and it's. Well, the mics are great for the podcast, but you need to be right up to it. So with a boom arm, you can maneuver it around however you want, so you can be more comfortable. Because like I say, we're all leaning over now. Because if we were to all sit back, it looks like you're just looking at chest. Look, the way the camera is, it just like, do you know what I mean? It's not like a full picture where, but yeah, there's just a few little things. But I agree with you 100% on the group one. So,
what about yourself?
So, do you want me to go realistic or unrealistic ones? Because I've got a few.
Everything.
Right, the realistic ones.
So that's like for yourself and obviously the podcast as well.
So the realistic ones is be a bit more, not be as. How do I phrase it? Oh God, I can phrase this like 4 different ways. That's a good. Right, so one of them is I'm starting up a business, another one, and I'm just going to keep going until it works. So there's another business I'm starting, for definite.
is that BJ Solutions? Is it?
No, that is one of them, but it's not. It's not that one. It's a personal business. Well, it's not a personal business, but I'm going to be setting up something else that I know the area well because of my experiences in previous work.
What, pawn shop?
I've done that before.
Yeah, is that what you're setting up?
No.
No, he's already got that.
No, so you know what? You'll know. So what have people always said about me? The one criticism regarding work, and you can say it on loud if you want.
My brain's gone nuts.
Put me on the spot now.
Yeah.
So if you were to say one thing about me over the last 10 years regarding work,
No one works harder than you.
no,
That.
You
No.
bounce from jobs.
yes,
You bounce from job to job.
yep. So, and that's to increase the pay, right? I chased money for a while.
Yeah.
So because of that, that's now allowed me to test different fields of work. So I'm going to be setting up a business around that.
Oh, recruitment.
Well, you never know. You have to wait and see. But I'm looking at
He's
just
been recruiting you more.
no, but like I know the rates of pay for jobs.
You don't have the authority to mention them type of comments in this podcast, man.
But yeah,
It was just too easy.
but wait, I didn't even hear what you said. Recruiting his mum. She recruited me, mate. She was hey, it wasn't me.
She was like, "Oh, I like
She
your
just swatted me out the sky. It was like a moth to a flame. But yeah, no, I'm definitely wanting to start that up because you can start that up with nothing, but you can also start it up. And with the experience I've got of listening to other people's rates of pay and the job and the spec, and I think I've got quite a good mindset to know what people should and shouldn't be getting paid for roles.
Yeah.
So I think, and because I'm very passionate, I'll make sure people get what they deserve. I won't be a case of, oh my God, I'm going to do what's happening to me where I'm getting loads of money taken off me an hour. No, I won't be doing that. My markup won't be that high. So I'm wanting to do that. That's another bit of a passion of mine recently. Oh, well, I say recently, probably for about a year or so, but I've put it to the back burner. The streaming thing, that's going to go, I think.
Gonna stop it.
I think so.
Well, do you know what? I'm going to be 100% honest. I kind of saw it coming.
Oh, well, yeah, because being a dad obviously takes away your free time. I get that.
There is that, and then there's also your job.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just went, he hasn't been streaming very, very much recently. It's been one here and there, and that's about it. It's going to be more than likely that he has other things and other aspirations, other dreams, other goals, and they're going to become more important to him. So he's more than likely going to stop the streaming.
Yeah, it's as much as good as fun as it is. I'll never fully stop it. I'll just come on and just do a random one just for fun.
Yeah.
I won't be doing it as like a hobby job thing where I was getting paid for it. I won't be doing that.
Yeah.
I'll just occasionally stream a random game or whatever. But yeah, the one for me is progressing my job. Like I say, that might be happening sooner than you think. So I had some very good feedback off somewhere where I went and spoke to somebody about a new potential job. Very, very, very high up compared to what I am now.
Ooh.
So it'd be a massive jumper. Good for the
Is that,
CV.
is that local or
No,
no?
Kendon.
That's not that's fairly.
It's about 55-minute drive.
Yeah.
So I
but
did it the other day.
It's not like you're going to Manchester,
No.
Liverpool.
And the only reason I would happily stay where I'm at, and they know this, but I'm contracting. I can't afford to
It's not
just.
secure.
I can't afford at this time to be contracting where they could stop tomorrow. At this time, eventually, maybe I could work away. I don't want to work away, but I mean, I could do what my dad did, where you're on 3, 4, 5 year contracts and then bounce after a few years or whatever. I could do that, but not while he's so young. Anyway,
Yeah.
Lewis has put Ben, what's BJ Solutions? So
Mhm.
it was a joke at first. The title,
It
like,
was a-
so it's Ben and Josh Solutions. So what the entail was going to be was house renovations, getting into the property ladder, buying and flipping houses. We just need a bit of capital to do that, but that's definitely something that we're looking into big this year. We've got there's a few people we've been speaking to from away that are on YouTube and very big on there that are looking to expand their horizon so we can potentially deal source. We just unfortunately lost out on a house that we've been tracking for like 3 years. You know which one it is.
By
Guess how much it sold for?
one,
Have a guess.
15 grand
Oh, more than that.
in the bracket between 20 and 40.
Yeah, you're right. So it sold for 25 grand, the house.
That one that was like absolutely
Penrith Place.
shafted.
Yeah, the one that's been empty for 25 years. And we found out that the only reason we didn't get it is because we didn't take the woman who behind the scenes shouldn't have been doing this to dinner. So my brother, well, between you both, just suck it up.
There it is.
I was waiting for the joke, mate. I was waiting, Lewis. I knew straight away, Lewis. But yeah, I mean, another thing that me and Josh have been sort of communicating about, but sort of haven't, is we were always very secretive about what we're doing. Now I'm the opposite. I think put it out into the universe, there's a chance it'll happen. You never know who's listening. So me and Josh did a lot of work behind the scenes, which we have done, but people have known us for years that we've wanting to do this. But yeah, for me, it's all right, don't worry about it, Josh. Recruitment, for myself, I don't mind saying I'm going to do it. I'm going to set up my own recruitment company. I've already thought of the name, got the logo in mind. I just need to register it as a company and then start. And whether that's just cold emailing people, just saying, is there any jobs that you would like me to advertise for? I already know what software to get. I've already looked into it all. And very, very minimal startup cost, but I can't wait to do like the hard work on it, if that makes any sense, because I just love the fact of potentially creating something myself as like a little side thing. But like, Mo, you were right in what you said. The streaming thing was naturally always going to come to an end unless I started earning big on it, because I loved it anyway. But the fact that you could earn from it was like an added bonus. I wasn't really that interested.
It's the same with me with YouTube, mate.
You'll get to a point where you'll stop it unless you go big on it. For you, which is always good anyway, because it's go big or it's either you make it or you don't. But you'll get
I mean,
to
I'm already earning from YouTube.
But I mean, properly earning where it's like hundreds and then thousands and then tens of thousands. If you get to that bracket, then obviously you're not going to stop.
No.
But if you don't see yourself earning over 10, 15, 50, £100 regular, you'll be sitting there thinking,
Is it worth it?
I'm putting 20 hours a week into this.
Yeah.
And you're thinking if you'd have put that into work, you'd have got 200 quid.
Yeah. I mean, I got my first paycheck the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And that was about, what, 70, 80 quid? Because the payout threshold is 60 quid
Yeah.
on YouTube. And so I breached the threshold for towards the end of the year, and it was about
How good does it feel?
80 quid. I was like, yeah.
The fact that YouTube's a lot harder. But my first one on Facebook was like 148 quid or 168 quid or something, which was mad.
Yeah.
And I was sat there thinking, all I've done here is, well, I say all I've done. I probably put about 20 hours in to get that. Maybe probably more than that. You've done fucking miles more hours than that. So you sit there and you think, if it's hindering you, you'll stop it. But at the moment, it isn't, so you won't.
I would say in maybe another 2 years.
And you love it. So why would you stop?
I would say in another 2 years' time, and there's not been much growth, then I'd probably contemplate.
Yeah.
But then I'd be like, I probably won't be doing it as much. I'd focus more, on full-time work, etc.
But then potentially less content might be more wanted content.
Exactly.
So it might end
I've
up
been trying to be a bit more smart.
So it might be you do one video a week and people actually really, really want to watch it because they've missed seeing it, sort of thing. Same as a podcast, which if we started doing 2-3 episodes a week, I don't think it'd gain as much any.
I think people might get bored of it.
Well, yeah.
Do you know what I
So,
mean?
but yeah, it's all right. Yeah, Josh, I think he said that before, didn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of them for me.
Go back to what you were saying about this house.
Yeah.
You're on about your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you didn't finish what you were saying.
So my brother knows the guy that bought the house.
Right. Okay.
So I can't mention names as to how me and Josh managed to potentially acquire the house, but
That's fair enough.
it wasn't through an estate agent, right?
Yeah.
So the person who was tasked with the house, so basically I reached out to this individual who works for this company that sort of governs all of it and basically said, this house is a dump. I want to renovate it, thinking I had the money already. I didn't, but it was all a plan to see what she'd say. She came out and said, oh my God, that's great. We're always looking to improve houses like this because they're derelict and it's a safety hazard. So I went and took pictures of the backyard of the house and all this, and it was a safety hazard. There was rats, there's everything there. I said, this is massively downvaluing the rest of the houses on the street, etc., etc. We're interested in buying it. Can you put us in contact with the owners so we can buy them or speak to him and buy it cash? Didn't have the cash, and I've gone and took a loan out if we could have got it for what we was originally quoted.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, the guy that bought it did the same thing, but took her out for dinner, apparently, privately, which we found out was like a backhanded comment. And I was sat there thinking, what we were doing wasn't illegal, but she's favoured him through bribery, technically.
Yeah, she has, yeah.
So she was putting us off for ages and ages. And Josh probably won't mind us saying it now because we've lost it. But we were basically... So the Tipsy Mare Gin is basically owned by Lewis Bird. He runs that, and that's his gin bar. I think they're joking. Someone who works in events. Well, maybe they're not joking, actually. They might be serious. But it's serving cocktails and stuff like that. But yeah, Josh is saying there, we got screwed. So basically, I'm not going to say it's for the council, but I won't say who it is in there. So there's a certain section of the council that deals with houses that are derelict and haven't been touched in 20 years. They try and speak to the owners and get them to sell the houses to investors because it makes the house and street look better. The street looks shit with that house on. It really did. And the rest of those houses will go up in value now when that gets done out.
Yeah.
They bought it for £27,000 or 25 grand or something like that. That house would sell for, you're probably looking 70 grand. It needs a full renovation inside.
Yeah.
But if you're a builder that can do the work himself and you just need to buy the materials will probably cost you about 15 grand. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a small house. Of course it does. So less material.
Price of materials has skyrocketed though because of COVID.
Yeah. So a bathroom suite, a normal one, for an average size house, you're talking 4 or 5 grand. For that, you're talking 2 or 3 grand. Kitchen, 3 grand. Skimming the wall, plastering, it'll be cheaper because the house is smaller. But you're talking, say for instance, it costs them 30 grand, 20 grand to do up. They're still making 30 grand on that house, right? And we got screwed out of it. And that was what we tried everything, but yeah. So property investments, ideally. We've got a few people that we're speaking to regarding investments as investors, so we can deal source for them. So we can package up a deal, tell them how much you're getting it for, tell them the profit at the end of it, tell them the price. That's something I'm planning on doing with Josh. We're going to start telling people now because we want it out there. For me personally, I'm going to set up another business, 100%. Still going to carry on the Bencore cuts because that's something I really, really do enjoy, and I like giving back to people.
Speaking of that, I need to book in.
That's fine. I did Josh's before, mate, before this, but
Getting a bit long on the.
yes, I love helping people as and when I can. The podcast, main one for us, for me now, like you said, exactly the same. I want us to, well, not exactly the same. I'm not going to say the camera because that's the same. I want us to improve our content,
Yeah.
which I think we're very focused on this year.
It is quite difficult to do that with a podcast because it's even with me because I think the time that I took off was what I really needed it
That needs to stop.
because I was like
Ah,
I just needed the chance to figure out like where do I want to go to next.
you've just you've just made me click as well, and then I've just seen that's weird. McKinley, in the I don't know whether you want us to show us in the summer. We have a pressure washer for you that we're going to be donating to McKinley Dawson. So for those of you guys that are unaware, he is a 12-year-old, might even be a 13-year-old now entrepreneur. He started up in the summer of last year washing cars for people for very cheap, but he was very, very thorough. I took my car there to him himself. And after he did my car, the dirt on my car was thick from JJC. So it wasn't, his pressure washer just couldn't do it. He'd have been there all day, the poor lad, and he was going to charge me like £3. I was like, you're not doing that. So as soon as I seen that, it sprung an idea that we're going to buy him a pressure washer and we're going to donate it to him and help out the local
Yes.
business and so on. So still 12 Ben, right? Sweet. So yeah, that's another plan, McKinley. Don't worry, we haven't forgot. It's at Josh's house. We're just waiting for the right time for us and you so we can meet up and show you how to use it because it is very, very powerful and we don't want you taking someone's paint off a car. So the JBK podcast will not be responsible for any damages or done by McKinley Dawson. But no, like I say, we'll come round and we'll come round and I'll do it on my car. We'll show you how to do it, and then obviously you're aware. Then that way you're getting a fresh catch, a pressure washer, and you can do sort of any vehicle. Then and we'll try to help out as much as we can. But yeah, that's my goal, mate. If I'm being
I
honest,
do have one question for you boys.
go on.
So when I stated when I look back at 2022, I found it as a year of learning.
Yes,
And so what I would ask you boys, this question is what lessons did you learn in 2022 and how will you look to use the lessons that you've learned in 2022 and apply them into every aspect of 2023?
One of the biggest lessons I learned last year was to love yourself.
Yep.
Because as you know, I didn't.
Nope, I agree with that.
And that was probably was my biggest one for last year.
You should go and love you.
But it's right though. I don't know if you got any more, mate. I didn't want to
No,
interrupt you
go
there.
on.
Mine, there's a few. I'm always looking at self growth and where I can improve. One for me was respect. Try and respect everybody, even though I think I do that well now. Never used to.
Debatable.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it's fair enough. I completely take that on the chin if that was the case. But
Oh, I know you like taking it on the chin.
I think
He's got him.
no,
He's going frazzled.
your mum didn't complain.
There it is. His brain was ticking like mad.
Oh, I knew that straight away, but I just thought, do I rise above? No, he deserves that one. But no. Look, learning.
On his chinny chin.
The one thing I've become an expert at, and I really have, is letting go when it needs to. So not hanging on to
Go.
not hanging on to things that you don't need to waste energy on.
Oh.
I think I'm still working on prioritizing things. So I need to. Me and Beth have been speaking. We need to learn how to prioritize and sort of manage having a child because we're not struggling, but it's very hard to manage our time at the moment because we're a bit sort of still all over. A year of self-development, definitely. I mean, there's a few things I could say. Well, one of them is my religion, 100%, literally saved my life. And Josh can attest to that. He really can. He knows probably more than a lot of people. And there's a few people that didn't even believe that I was like that. But it's literally saved my life. So that's one of them. Stay true to the course there. Like I say, just a lot of internal working out my issues. Like it's not even about other people anymore. People who have wronged me before. I'm not interested anymore. I don't care. There was a load of people, and there was probably a queue, and there'd have been a bus, and then another bus behind that.
You've already said. I'll cut you off. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not interested anymore. If you don't,
Don't bring anything.
No-
Don't bring anything to the table. You're not
no,
interested.
not even
No, in a sense.
in a sense, but I mean, if you don't have the core values that I would want somebody to see in me, I will not associate with you at all. And that's a case of if you don't treat people fairly and with respect and all that, I don't want to know anymore. I used to be the worst person for it. Like I really was. I didn't give a shit about anybody, mate. It was really bad. And I sit back now and I look and I'm like, I can't even look at that. Like sometimes when I see videos of myself when I was like when we were younger, and I'm like, I don't even want to look at that guy. Like I really don't. I'm not perfect by any means, but I know in my heart of hearts that there's not many people that criticize themselves as much as I do. And I know there's not many people that actively work on themselves like I do. They just don't because nothing changes with them. I can see it. And it's not a case of
I
just saying,
changed.
oh, I didn't say you, did I?
No, but I'm just saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of people that don't, but then it's not just about saying that you have, it's the proof is found in action. And I decided a long time ago that I was going to act on it rather than say it. So
Yeah.
for me now, I don't need to say it. People can see, and if they can't see, it shows me that they're still naive in themselves.
They're just blind.
I notice every,
You actually see he's legally blind.
but have you? You'll probably. I'm going to sound absolutely mental saying this, but I notice everything about everybody.
Yeah.
Who else notices that you had a line in your hair and your haircut? Do you know what I'm saying though? Like little things. Like I notice everything about everybody,
I didn't notice, to be fair.
but it's little things like that because I
Still
observe
half asleep.
because I observe other people now. Because I observe other people and look like, right, do I need to act like that or do I need to be true around them? Can I give myself to them? Do I need to take a step
Did you
back?
do it with his mum?
Oh God. I'm being serious here, Mol.
I can't help it.
Yeah, yeah, you can. It's mouth on it. I do it still. Look, exactly. His mic's off now. But you look and you think, do you ever just it takes a certain individual to sit in a dark room and really, really think. Like me and Beth were talking about this the other night, and I've not been doing as much as I should be, and that's my fault. I've been finding it very hard to balance everything at the moment. And I was the first person to sit there and say, like, I've just not been good enough. I don't see many other people being like that. I just don't see it. There's just something about it that I just don't. I know people don't do it. I just know, and the action is there for me. Like I'll
Yeah.
prove it. Whereas when I see somebody and like, oh, how have you been? Nah, now it's changed. What? In 5 years? Nothing's changed in 5 years. So nothing's happened new with you. When you go, oh, how have you been? Ah, same old. What do you mean, same old?
Mm.
You're fucking 30 years of age.
Don't get me wrong. There's some people that like literally nothing has changed in like 5 years.
Then that's sad to me. That
No, I get that.
to me anyway. And those people.
Yeah,
will be
no,
the pe-
no. To me, that screams that they have gotten far too comfortable, and they have not want to do anything to branch out, to do something new, etc. So,
To be fair, I do know a couple of people like that.
Yeah.
and so that's when I say, that's when I would ask them,
Why?
"Are you okay?"
But I agree. But then it gets to a point where it's like, it's the same thing. Still shit with money, still shit with their appearance, still don't give a shit about themselves. They're still shit with the girls. They're still shit with a girlfriend by that. I mean, nothing's changed in their life. And then they're still, do you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh,
That's when there's something up here for them.
not necessarily.
I generally think it's a mental and maturity based
No, it's
thing.
not.
No, I disagree. In certain people, maybe, but that's an escape route for a lot of people. What you've just said there is an escape route for people that are lazy. I hold my hands up.
Oh.
I was one of them.
I was also one of them.
I'd probably say from the age of 21 to maybe 26, maybe 27, only 26 it was, maybe 3 years ago. I I'd be the person that you go, all right, mate, how you doing? Rather than going in depth, I'd just be like, yeah, same old. I'd be that person. But then you'd look at me like nothing's changed in his life at all. Nothing has changed apart from maybe a job. But other than that, you're like, what else has changed? Have you changed the way you are, how you treat people? Have you changed the way how you treat your parents? What have you changed? What have you done to improve?
Yeah.
And you speak to those people, and then I'm like, now I'm not, and I've actively pursued it. I'm like, I avoid those people like the plague because I would have avoided myself. I avoid every one of those people like the plague. So if people know now I don't bother, there's a reason. Because now I'm the master of observing people, and I know I am because I
But
can see me in them.
But it's like that though. It's like if they say to you, "Well, what's the reason? Why don't you bother with me?" and you say, "Well, there isn't a reason. There is a reason. It's them." and then that they need to understand that.
But it works both ways as well. I'm not
Well,
going to
yeah, of
sit here
course
and
it does.
say I don't bother with them. That's their fault. No, it's my fault too.
Yeah,
But if someone goes, well, you don't bother me. I went, well, have you sat and thought there's a reason why?
they don't
And
bother with you though.
no,
9 times out of
it's
10.
not always that reason. So that
No,
reason,
no, no. But that is one of the
and
big differences.
Lewis watching can attest to this because me and him have fell into this category with each other before. Have you been? Oh, I've not heard from you in a while, and we just haven't. We just both don't do it right. But then there's also other reasons for other people that's different. So for me and Lewis, it is genuinely because we just don't with each other. It's not that we don't like each other. We're mates, but we're just not. We don't speak every day. And Lewis, I look at him and I'm like, I love that because he starts his business. I'm like, we actually have a lot in common. But whereas with other individuals, I won't name, where it's like they go, oh, I've not heard from you in ages. And then I'm sat in my head thinking, well, do I say why or do I just let it go? Old me would have fucking gone for it. Now I'm not interested because me telling you is bringing me back to what you want me to do. You want me to tell you this. You want because then that way it's almost like you're the pity. Or it's my fault all of a sudden. It's like, no, you're 30 and you're a waster, mate. What are you doing with your life? And they say that you surround yourself, that the people you become who you surround yourself with, right? I can name on one hand literally people where I'm like, yeah, I'd do everything with them. Other than that, not interested. Not interested at all. Unless you really care about my family or my Beth or my mates, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So say for instance, if we were to go out on the drink, right, us three, one of you's go, oh, Lado's joining me. All right, how close is he to you? Ah, not that really. Why is he here then?
Yeah.
I'm instantly. I'll speak to him, say hello. But I'm not interested in what his stories are for the rest of it.
100%.
Yeah, he's got to be nice to people, but I'm not gonna waste my time
You're
or
not gonna
energy.
you're not going to waste your energy on somebody that is not seen.
And I wouldn't expect somebody to waste it on me.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not going to sit here and fucking sit on this high horse or pretend that like I'm something. No, if somebody doesn't have time for me, that's fine. I'd sooner him say it. I welcome that because I'll be the first person to stand up, no violence, no nothing, shake your hand and go, I appreciate your honesty there, I really do.
Yeah.
And I've actually matured and grown, and I know we have. But then you look at some people and you're like, literally, you are the same as you were when you were 15. Still the sympathy. Life's all shit. It's everyone else's fault but your own. At what point are you going to start taking, responsibility for your own actions and for your own life? They're never gonna. So you'll just sit, piss into the wind. You're wasting your time. Just forget him. Move on.
Only you can sort yourself out.
Of course you can.
Yeah, you can take advice from
Course you
other
can.
people, mates, and stuff like that, but it's only you that can sort yourself out.
I don't know why, but Mulan just.
Do you know what I mean?
That Mulan song just came into my head when he said that.
The thing is, though, the same as with us, when you've asked us, we could give you advice about everything. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's up to you to do what you want to do. So, say for instance, if we go, say it was what sort of going back to what Liam said about your song before. If we were to sit there and go, you need to work on this or you need to work on that, you can listen to that or you can't. But for me, I know you would because prime example, when you were first doing your YouTube and then you were putting videos out and I'd noticed something, I'd go, Mol, that's a cracking video, but what about this? See how it looks. And you'd go, all right, you'd do it. And then sometimes you'd be like, no, that's a great idea, that. But then sometimes you'd have the courage to go, no, I'm going to keep it as is, Ben, because I'm not really. That shows to me the maturity level of somebody that is willing to accept criticism, but also will be honest with himself. You don't see that a lot in any people, really. For me, anyway, you don't. And like I say, I'm the first person to accept criticism about myself over than, well, wait there. What gives you the right to say it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it for me, that's the one thing I want for all of us. And what one thing, if they could say anything about me, will notice this year about me. If you don't hear from me or see me, it's the same old stuff. My priorities aren't you. They're not. My priority is looking at the moment. My priority is looking after my missus and my son and my close friends around me that bother.
Yeah.
And it's a case of it's very simple, but my proof's already been there for 2 years now, and nothing's going to change with that side. I'm just looking to get to the next level of it.
Yeah, because I think for myself, with what I learned was there are so many times where I've half-assed shit,
Oh, we all do, yeah.
and I'm like, and I've done that throughout my 26 years of life, and I go,
I
you've got,
disagree.
I see it, my well that's
YouTube.
to me. I go, I think that you've done very very well with YouTube, but up here I go, you can do so much more.
You can, but that could be said for everything. You need to also learn to give yourself some credit along the way.
Yeah,
So think about it, right? How many times did you put 3 videos a day out? I don't think you can really do much more than that, to be honest. If I'm being honest, I don't know the YouTube scene as much as you, but looking at it from just a logistical standpoint, you were seeing one of the top YouTubers in the world at one point putting 3 videos a day out, Vicstar. He had no life. I know his videos were of a miles sort of more expensive standard and all the rest of it,
yeah,
but you were doing 3 videos a day whilst also working part time, whilst also playing on your Xbox occasionally and doing all this stuff. So you can't sit there and say you did YouTube half-assed. That could you have done better? Probably, but you can't not give yourself any credit.
yeah. I mean, I see from when I would say the first 8 months or 8 9 months, and I was like, oh wow, I've just got 1,000 subscribers in like 8 9 months. I've been busting my balls off. All right, well done, Jordan. But now it's time to elevate.
Yeah.
Now it's time to make the next step forward. And then it was getting a proper setup, etc. And then you go right. Now you got to learn how to properly edit your videos. You may not have the connections with other YouTubers that are better editors than you. You will have to self-teach yourself how to edit. And I do generally believe in my heart and soul that in Barrow I'm probably up there for being one of the best editors when it comes to finding what works in a video and being able to blend it in and master it
Yeah.
perfectly within a video, and having sort of humor matched with seriousness, or when it's just being goofy, or it just fits in perfectly with a video and the edits that I'm wanting to include in the video.
Which is good because you're aware of that also, whilst also giving yourself some credit, but not saying that there's no way that you can improve. So there is a you're self-aware now, which you never used to be. So that's another good thing that you can sort of say from last year to this year. But unfortunately, guys, I know there's still a lot of you on, so you are probably enjoying that. But unfortunately, that is where we are going to have to end it for this week. We did start
Have
late.
me.
I know we did start late today due to like I say, Josh, who should have been on this week's episode, was nice and unfortunately for him, fitting the security system for my house, which they were slightly delayed on that. But so like I say, thank you to you, Josh, for doing that, and Kieran. But yeah, massive shout out to all you guys that are still watching, and massive shout out to you guys that have came and watched and commented. We want to give a massive shout out to the Knights for being the host of the JBK podcast. And last but not least, we can't forget our sponsors. We want to give a massive shout out to TNT Records, Transform Physiques, Northwest Plumbing and Heating, and Lakeside Fire and Security. And absolute lastly, massive shout out to our special guest and first guest of 2023, Just Mol. He's been your boy, Just Mol. But yeah, we will be back next Monday, hopefully 6 p.m. With a full squad, and you never know who might be on. Like I say, we're going to keep it a surprise up until something else changes. But yeah.
It's me, guys.
But yeah, massive shout out to all you guys that have come and watched the podcast, show your support every weekend. Like I say, we will be trying to improve as always. I've been 1/3 of your host this week, Ben. To my right, we do have K-Mac Makata, and to the right of him, we've actually not even had a guest. It's been a co-host because Josh hasn't been here. It is Jordan Molyneux, aka Joe Small, aka Shagger, aka Finger Blast. But yeah, and if you do miss this episode on Facebook, you can go over to YouTube and Spotify to catch up and make sure that you subscribe to those platforms as well. We do post on there every week. So we have been the JBK podcast. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Wait, I'm just a bit thingy.